Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for what is going to be an incredible rally and kickoff for Kshama Sawant's campaign for City Council for Seattle's 3rd District. Woo! We are all here tonight because we know that Kshama is an independent fighter for working class people and renters on what is an otherwise corporate and developer-friendly council. Kshama has been a fighter for key issues we care about. $15 an hour. She's been fighting on behalf of the Black Lives Matter movement by holding SPD accountable for their ridiculous response to protests in downtown. She supported the struggle for Indigenous Peoples Day. She joined us in saying "Shell No" to the Arctic drilling rig being housed in our waters. She's been at the forefront fighting against anti-LGBT hate crimes here on Capitol Hill. And has been pushing for rent control and a massive investment in affordable housing. We're here tonight because Kshama has stood up against corporate politics and business as usual in this city. And because we all know how rare that is, and how moneyed interests will stop at nothing to make sure that our movements are set back in this next election. The road here, for me, to this stage with Kshama started in 2013. The first year of my organization, Gender Justice League, a scrappy trans activist collective here on Capitol Hill, launched Trans Pride Seattle. We wanted to have, thank you. We wanted to throw a grassroots pride march and rally on Capitol Hill to elevate our community's struggle and resilience. Despite reaching out to numerous politicians, some of whom were openly LGBT, Kshama was the only elected, or at that time running for office, politician who bothered to show up. Her banner read, "Ding dong, DOMA's dead, onward to trans equality." It was a clear, and that's the same banner they ran with in LGBT Pride. It was a clear signal of how stark a difference Kshama is from most politicians who fear being seen at a march for the trans community. I've seen her time and again show up for underdogs in Seattle, and to show up for people who most politicians pass by on their way to big-ticket downtown fundraisers and Chamber of Commerce retreats. It's true. Most recently, I approached Kshama after 2 years of watching my community's efforts to combat the 3rd highest rate of anti-LGBT hate crimes in the country languish with only half-hearted and short-term efforts by the city to even bother responding. These efforts did very little to put a dent in the violence. There was another hate crime last week, as many of you might have read. Kshama asked a grassroots group of activists what she could do to support our efforts and our movements to address hate crimes. And with our urging, she used her position on the council to organize a community forum to put a spotlight on the issue and to hear directly from the community about what solutions they believed would work best. That is Kshama's approach. What we heard in that forum in February mirrors everything that Kshama's campaign is about. We need affordable housing on Capitol Hill and in the Central District. We need to tackle youth homelessness, which is an astounding disgrace for our community. We need to seriously address the out-of-control rents that are forcing our community out of our long-time homes and weakening the fabric of our ability to create a safe space and community on the Hill and in the Central District. We need good-paying jobs. and Kshama was the one to fight for 15. Absolutely. We need a fighter in office who isn't afraid to take on business as usual politics that seeks only to serve the interests of the corporate moneyed elite and developers, and who's willing to shift the conversation to the need of every one of us in this room. Tonight we're here to build the biggest grassroots campaign that the city has seen in decades, and together to send a clear signal that the time of corporate politics is over. The time of people-powered grassroots power is here, represented by all of us in this room. We're here to send a message across the country, just like we did when we forced $15 an hour and by electing a socialist into office, that change is here. And that it's not a one-time fluke, that it's a harbinger of a new era of independent grassroots politics.